So anyway, we'll go ahead and get going. This time I am going to share my friends at Mineola because they didn't get a chance to, they're never in there. There's Mia and Courtney. They're our group that we have in Mineola, and they got to see their test just a second ago. But you guys will be emailed your test here in just a second. Or after I finish the class. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to do 2.3, and our lesson is going to be about slopes. And so when we do slopes, I hope I'm almost really confident this is going to be a review for you guys. But so we know we were going to start with the definition of a slope. And when we have a linear equation, it's just going to be talking about how quickly the line rises or how quickly it falls. And that's why you're going to have the change of the y over the change of the x. And you have a formula of the y 2 minus y to 1 over x2 minus x to 1. I also am going to add in front the Greek letter delta means change of in math. And so if I have the change of the y over the change of the x, that's also representing my slope. And so it's a little delta y over delta x. We know that if we at things from left to right, then if we are going uphill, then we're going to be a positive slope. Going downhill is going to be negative. Zero slope is going to be a horizontal line, and then the undefined slope is going to be the vertical. Can you tell me quickly, like why? Why is that undefined? What rule does it break? Yeah, when you have a vertical line, why is the slope considered undefined? Okay. Look back at the formula. If I have the change of the y over the change of the x, and the x doesn't change. So the change of the x would be the same value. So it'd be, I have 0 on the bottom of my fraction, and therefore it makes it undefined. But I just thought again, you probably know this. So we're going to find the slope in the couplet for these points, and then we're going to determine whether it rises, falls, horizontal, or is vertical. And so again, I'm going to go ahead, M represents from the equation y equals mx plus b is usually, so it's a common term for M is slope. So I'm going to start. I can go ahead and if I go 4, what would be my next one? Minus what? 6. Good. So 4 minus 6. Then I would have to start with what? -3. Good. And then I'm going to go minus 6. So then I'm going to end with -2 over then a -9. And so that's going to be then 2/9. Now you don't have to write this one down, but remember on my slope, I could go the other way and I could go 6 minus 4. But then on the bottom, I'd have to also start with this one over here, which happens to be 6, and then minus a -3. And so either direction you go, you should be able to get the same answer. You just have to be careful, especially in this case, on this one where it's the same, it's not as a crucial, but you have to make sure that you start with one point and end with one point. So in this case, this one is going to be 2/9. Tell me a little bit about the slope. Over 9. Good. So on this one, they're going to just indicate rise. Rises, and then we'll always say that it's going to be from left to right. So on the next one, I have the M. I'm going to do the change of the Y's, and the change of the Y's are going to be 8. Good. And then on the bottom, after I see that one, it really doesn't matter what I have on the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and write it as 8 minus a -1. So I have the 0 over some number, in this case is going to be 9. And so this one tells me I have what kind of a slope, or what kind of line? Horizontal. Yeah. And then the last one, notice on this one that we're going to go M is going to be then the change of the Y's. So it's going to be 9 minus 5 over 7 minus 7. This time I have 0 on the bottom of my fraction. So in this case, I know that I have what kind of a line? Yep, it's undefined for slope and vertical. Good. Perfect. All right. Now, I have a feeling if I'm from in the past, you guys are usually so much more familiar with this one, the y equals mx plus b. But how many, are you familiar also with the point slope form as much? It is really pretty cool. When you're given a point and your slope, it's a great one to use. Now, keep in mind, you can always use the y equals mx plus b still, but utilizing the y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1 actually can make, I don't know, I find it easier to use sometimes and it makes it so much faster. But when you do that, if I have a point, this is the point y x sub 1, y sub 1. So this is going to be my numbers, and then you will want to keep your y and your x. You don't substitute it in. So I'll show you example of what we're talking about. So if I have a slope, so it says write the point slope form. Okay, so we're going to start with that one. Remember, it's going to be y minus y sub 1 is equal to x or m times x minus x sub 1. What that means is I'm just going to replace my x and y into my equation, but I'm going to keep this y as y. So y minus the y sub 1 is going to change to my y value of my coordinate. And so it's going to be minus 1/2. My slope is what I need to find. So in this case, I've given a slope of -4, so I'm going to go -4 times x minus and a -3. So in this case, I'm going to again go plus and plus. So I have y plus 1/2, and then I'll distribute the -4 in. So I'll have -4x. Anyone tell me what positive or -12? Good, -12. And then all I have to do is move on this one. They said, then use the point slope for the case to write it in the slope intercept form. So the slope intercept form is the y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to go ahead and move my 1/2 to the other side. So when you're doing your homework, just kind of be careful of what form they're asking for, because that would be one of those things that they might trip you up. They might ask it for a different form. So all I need to do is move my 1/2 to the side. And so I have y equals a -4x, then minus 12.5, or let me go ahead and write as 12.5. Okay. Now it says, given the given conditions, write an equation of the line in the point slope form and then in the slope intercept form. So this time they want both, but they've given us 2 points. So I need to find obviously what first? What am I missing on both of my equations? Slope. I've got to find my slope. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to find what m is. M is, boy, is that right grammarly? Oh. I have to, what m would be. How about we'll change it so it's right. So I'm going to change with the y's. I'm going to start with 11. So I'm going to go 11 minus a -1. And then I'm going to go 4 minus a -4. That, and then so I'll end up with 12/8. So far, so good. And then that will simplify. 4 goes into both of them. So it's going to be, or 3. Yeah, 4 goes into both of them. It's going to be 3,2, 3/2. Now, if I'm going to do the point slope form, I'm just going to, all I have to do is pick one of them. So I'm going to go y minus. I can choose either one of my points and I will get the same answer. So let's go ahead and go to the first one. So y minus a -1 is equal to my slope, which is 3/2 times x minus a -4. In this case, I just have to move my 1, distribute my 1 3/2, and then move my 1 over. So I have 3/2 x. I have then plus 4 times 1/2. Well, 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 2 times 3 is going to be 6. And so then when I have y plus 1, I'm going to move my 1 to the other side. So y is going to equal 3/2 x and then minus plus 5. Now, again, you don't have to do it, but if I chose the other one, if I go y and I would go my other point, which is going to be minus 11 is equal to 3/2 times x minus 4. I'm going to end up with y minus 11 is equal to 3/2 x. I'm still going to get the 4, 2 goes into that, so it's going to be minus 6. But notice when I add the 11, I still get the 5. So I get the same answer regardless of which which point that I use. So because it also will change. So you can just pick one point and put it in, and then you only have to do it once, but I just wanted to show you that you could do both ways. Now, on this one, we want to go ahead, this is going to be the intercept form. So the slope intercept form, when I go back, when I go the point slope form, that's going to be this form here. Yes, I should have them over there. They're not there. Did my box get taken? You want to? It's just okay. I'm sorry. I had one in here. I'm not sure where it disappeared to, but I'll go get. We'll get you one in between. So the point slope form, when we write it, would be this example, and then to go with the slope intercept form would be this next one. All right. Now on the next part, given that we have the slope intercept form and of a line given, oh, my graph went over. So we're going to suppose, so I'm not sure what it's asking us to do. Given this, give the slope and the y-intercept of the line of the given. Okay, then where I think it says then graph it. So it says, I think, so on this one, if it's already in the slope intercept form, that means m is going to equal then the number multiplied to the x. So it's going to be 4/5. And then my y-intercept, which was b, is going to be then a -3. Then to graph that, tell me how to graph it quickly. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could also go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and which then I could go to the left 5, and it's going to be the same value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's all you have to do. On your graphing tool, are you guys having any problems with the graphing tool when you go? Okay. I think when we get into logs, we need to go over that a little bit more. The next one is use the given information to write the equation in slope-intercept form and then graph the line. So slope-intercept form, so we're going to have y equals, can anyone tell me? So it says it's passing through this point, so it's 0, 2. That tells me that it's going to be 0, 2. That's going to be my y-intercept. So that means b equals 2. All right, so in this case, my equation would be what? That is correct. And then you would go ahead and graph doing just what we did before, marking your your slope intercept or your b, and then you're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and back 4. And then just draw the line. Questions on that? Okay. The next one, equations of a horizontal line. So when I have an equation of a horizontal line, I've often, to me, I know it's either x equals or y equals. I get that part. But to determine, sometimes when I think about it, when I put a couple of points in my graph, like in this case, this is going to be, if I just come up, here's my line, and I came up where we had just 2. That means this is the point 0, 2, but like 2, 2 is also a point, and like -2, 2 is also the same point. So all horizontal lines, notice that the y value is going to stay the same. So that means y will equal then 2. Then horizontals are just going to be the opposite. And again, it goes the same reason. If I put up a couple of points on that line, I know all of the x values are going to be exactly the same. So that's why it's x equals. So when you have an equation like this, what you'd want to do is just solve. So 2x plus 16, move the 16 the other side. So 2x is going to equal negative 16 and divided by 2. So x is going to equal negative 8. That means I've got an x equals a vertical line. So I go over back 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to put a vertical line. Okay, remember too that if I have the equation f of x equals 1, remember f of x was also the same. This is the same as writing it as y equals 1. And so in this case, it's now a horizontal line at 1, and it's just going to be coming up 1 and then try and hit the line better than I did. The last part, this is a new form. It's called the general form. And the general form of the equation is going to be written as the capital A plus B, capital B plus capital C. And the reason they're capital is that they are real numbers and they're both not zero, but a lot of times they're whole numbers as well. So if we had a fraction like we did before, then we would just go ahead and multiply through times our denominator. And when you're using the equation of the line, the general form, a lot of times using plotting your y-intercepts and your x-intercepts and then making the line can be an easy way to graph the line rather than maybe putting it in the point slope. But if I did want to go ahead and put it in the slope intercept form, which again is y equals mx plus b, that means all I have to do is take this equation and solve it for y. So by doing that, I'm going to move my 2 and my x to the other side. So I'm going to say 2y is equal to what? Yes. And I'm going to go in since it's in this form, you might want to get in the habit of just putting the x first. So x minus x plus 2 would be probably closer, but it's not wrong the way you said it. It's just that if you kind of get in the habit of always putting this term first, then it's easy to not make a mistake with your slope. And then the last step is I divide both sides by 2, so y equals, if I divide everything by 2, perfect. And then we're going to graph, give the slope and the y-intercept. So we know the slope is going to be negative 1/2, and we have a y-intercept of 1. So we're going to plot 1 and then go down 1 over 2, or up 1, back 2. And then you'll draw your line. All right, the reason, we got one more. So it says, this one is nice because we can use our intercepts. It's in general form, okay? And so when I find that, if I look for my x-intercepts, then I know that my x-intercept, remember y equals 0. And so in this case, I would go then 9 times x. I would have minus 0 minus 45 is equal to 0. And then I could move my 45 over and divide by 9. So 9x is equal to 45, and therefore x is going to equal 5. So in other words, I'd come over here and I would plot that point, and then I'd also do my y-intercept. So y-intercept, that means the value of x is going to equal 0. So then my new equation is going to be minus 5y, and I'm going to go ahead and go equals 45. And then I'm dividing it by 5, so it's going to be a negative 9. So then I'd come down negative 9. I think I hit it. And then I would draw my line. Okay. Linear data is also used to make predictions. And then so you have a scatter plot where they've drawn a line that's that's close. And it says use the function to make a prediction about the child mortality based on the percentage of the adult females in the countries who are illiterate. So again, they've got a chart here. And so making predictions is where you can also kind of determine different points along the line. So I'm going to go ahead. It says as shown below, let's see, is a scatter plot indicating the relationship between percentage of adult females in the country who are illiterate and the mortality of the children under 5 per thousands, also shown as the line that passes through the near points. Find the linear function that models the data and finding the slope intercept form of the equation of the line. So when we have this equation, your scatter plots, when you actually can tell your calculators, and you can also go to Desmos and plot a few points and it'll create a scatter plot. But in this case, for your sake, we're probably going to be giving you 2 points just so that we can have some consistency. And so in this case, if I asked you, I'm going to start by finding my slope. So my slope, can anyone tell me, can you substitute that back in and tell me what I'm going to get? Yeah, which one? Mia, can you do it? Do your slope. So the change of the y would be what? Which point would you start with? Okay, perfect. 162 minus 252. Then that means that I'd have to go, no, it's, or then you would have, okay, you want to use, you can do it. So 252, where she wants to change it to 252 minus the 162. And then on the bottom, then we would have then 0 minus 60. So either way will work. You just have to make sure you don't change the order. And I've lost my calculator. Can you guys plug that in for me? Because I'm searching. It's over there. Okay. And in this case, they've also given us our y-intercept already, which is 252. So that's a B already because I have the 0.0 coming in. So I can go ahead and find my slope intercept form. So it's going to be y equals a negative 3 over 2 times x and then plus then 252. Now, when we deal with parallel lines and perpendicular lines, now parallel lines, obviously, what do you know about the slopes? If I have two parallel lines, they're the same, aren't they? Do you guys remember what the perpendicular are? What's the comparison between the two? Do you guys remember that? Let me show you real quick before I start. I've got Desmos open to our next one. So I've got Desmos, and I went ahead and I just went ahead and put one of the equations that we're going to do in just a little bit, which is the y equals 1/3 x plus 5. And I noticed that since I'm going up 3 and then or up 1 and over 3, in order for me to be perpendicular, I need to do the opposite of that. Now, obviously, if you think about the line that's going to be perpendicular, will it be a positive? Will it be the same value? Like, in other words, is it going to be positive or negative if it's perpendicular? Negative. And so what I went ahead and I did is I just chose that 5 here. So in other words, when I look at my slope and I'm comparing two perpendicular lines, notice that if I go up 1 and over 3 as a positive, to find the line that's perpendicular, I have to go down 3 and over 1. So if I change this and I just say, let's go ahead and just do, let me even just do a negative. So I'm going to go a negative and I'm going to go 2 over 5. Okay. So if I'm starting with the negative 2/5, my line perpendicular to it would have to be then a positive, wouldn't it? Okay. And notice it has to be the same. It has to be the opposite. So if you're going to go down 2 and over 5, that means you're going to have to go up 5. Yep. Over 2. And so that's why the perpendicular are going to be the opposite sign. So they say the negative, and then you have to flip it, which would be the reciprocal. So a negative reciprocal. So if it started off with being positive, then it needs to change to negative. If it starts positive, you have to change it to negative, and then you have to flip the equation. So when I have a problem, so it looks like it says, given the equation, write the equation in point slope form and in slope intercept form of a line passing through 8.6 and it's perpendicular to the line of the equation y equals 1/3 x plus 5. And I'm not showing you anything, sorry. There we go. So in this case, I need to find what my slope is. So in this case, I know that my slope is going to be 1/3. And so the slope then of the line that's perpendicular to it has to be the opposite sign, -3. And now I have a point. Now notice on the line that I gave you on Desmos, I just went ahead and kept it as 5. But I've got to move it over, but I can use my point slope form to do that. So remember, it's y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And so all I need to do is now substitute my new point in. So I have my y value is -6, so it's y minus a minus 6 is equal to now my new m, which is going to be the one that's perpendicular, which is going to be a -3 times x, and that's minus then my x value of my point, which is 8. And then I just have to simplify it and put it into the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start by distributing. So I have a -3x, -3 times -8 is +24. And then I have y plus 6. And so now I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So I have y is equal to a -3x. And then this case will be plus 18. So if I go back to my Desmos, nope, I am sharing, I thought. Okay, so remember we had the 1/3 and it was positive, so it's 1 divided by 3 and it was plus 5, correct? And now I've got my point 8.6, and then this time I'm going to check it with a -3 plus 18. And let me think, 6, did I do something wrong? 24 minus 6. Well, this is not supposed to happen, guys. Okay, look and see. Okay, I've got -3, 8. Oh, do you know what I did? Look at my look at my problem here. I typed in the 0.8 comma 6 instead of 8 comma -6. Ah, and it lines up on the line. Good, that's what I wanted. It just didn't do it the first time. So anyway, that's how you'll do that same. And then for the parallel lines, you're going to do the same thing. So you'll end up doing, like it says, write an equation of the line of the point slope form and the slope intercept form of the line parallel to y equals 5x. And so in this case, you have to find m. M is going to equal 5, and you know that the slope is going to be the same in both of them. So write an equation. So if I have a slope that is 5, all I have to do, let me go and change this one to 5. You could write anything. So 5x plus 18. Notice if I copy it, I can go ahead and do 5x plus 1. I could also copy it and do 5x. What is you guys need to have a favorite number, plus 7. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. Let's see if we can